I actually did the due diligence to compare this to a few other providers. So specifically within the Citi travel portal, there were some perks in there. You can see through the Chase travel portal, you can see things through, other booking engines, things like that. And when the dust settled, Costco was the clear winner. Hey everyone, hope you're doing very well today. My name is Michael Guastamacchio. I am one of the co-founders of Mediazilla, and today we're going to talk about a really important topic, which is renting a car. Now, I know this is probably top of mind for a lot of you, and this might be a common use case, but specifically we're going to talk about renting a car for business purposes, especially if you're an event filmmaker, if you're a wedding filmmaker, if you do any type of destination work, if you maybe need to drive somewhere far, if your car is on the fritz. So any use case where you need to rent a car as a filmmaker. And this could apply overseas as well. So we made some other videos in the past about rental car insurance and things like that. So we want to kind of go down that path as well. And again, some of you might be, very, very aware of this option, but some might not. And so what we're talking about today is Costco Travel, specifically for rental cars. So I've been using this service for probably the better part of, maybe 15 years or something like that. And just from my personal experiences, I found one that the rates, they kind of beat out any other service. There may be exceptions. I know people probably have examples of, hey, I go through this certain portal and I'm able to get these certain rewards. And you're probably absolutely right. But just on a balance of probabilities for simple and easy and right down the pipe, I would say Costco Travel is quite great. And we'll kind of walk through some of the benefits real quick. And again, this isn't an endorsement. I don't get paid by Costco. I don't have anything to sell you. I don't have any affiliate links. I don't have any referrals. This is purely just personal experience that I've had. And I think something that the community of filmmakers could benefit from. So again, this assumes you have a Costco membership. So if you go to, Costco.com, and then you'll see an option for travel, it'll pull up another page, and then here we're on it. So, and then you can kind of drill down. There's other travel options, which you guys might be aware, but specifically we're talking about rental cars. So I actually use this service. I had to go out to Phoenix on a trip a few weeks back. So I actually use the service, and, in all fairness, I actually did the due diligence to compare this to a few other providers. So specifically within the Citi travel portal, there were some perks in there. You can see through the Chase travel portal, you can see things through, other booking engines, things like that. And when the dust settled, Costco was the clear winner, and, there's different credit cards that you could use to actually make the purchase, but at least as far as the booking. So when we get here, we'll just kind of walk through it. Rental cars, if you're doing a one-way trip, you can specify that you might drop off at a different location. We can kind of walk through what my use case. So I was actually picking it up at the airport. And again, something to note here, generally speaking, when you pick up rental cars at the airport, the taxes and fees typically make up almost 1/3 of the total price, or said another way, whatever the base rental rate is, add 50% of that for the tax and fees. That's pretty much universal across the board at every airport. Those are the tax and fees. I used to travel a ton in a past life for work, and we did the math. So if you're able to rent away from the airport, sometimes that can be incredibly beneficial because the taxes might only be 15 or 20%. Now, having said that, a lot of times all we really care about is what is the net cost to you. And so even though those tax and fees might be higher, what we found is that I found personally, even my local airport and even going here, that even with the crazy tax and fees, it was still lower overall. And obviously there's a convenience factor too. So a lot of times picking up at the airport or somewhere very close to you might be incredibly more convenient than trying to save a few bucks going down the street. But depending on your facts and circumstances, how long you're going to rent the car, what areas are available. But we'll walk through this use case. So this was picking up at the Sky Harbor Airport in Phoenix. And, we can just pick a random date. I think I ended up picking it up on a Friday. So, as of the recording, we're recording this on the 12th of February, 2026. So let's just say it was next Friday, the 20th. I think I ended up picking up around maybe 7:30 in the evening, and then returning the car, we'll say on a Sunday, and maybe we'll return it around 5 p.m., give or take. And then you can figure out, hey, if you're over or under 25 years old, we'll click on search. Cool. And then, it's going to bring you to this page right here. But one, you could kind of look at, do you have any status with any of these rental providers? Have you rented before and you maybe had a positive experience? So maybe you like going to one of them. Maybe there's convenience. So, and you'll see different ones, but these are typically the main ones that you'll generally see. I think Hertz may still show up in here. So, that's something to consider. And then you can just kind of look at, what type, is there a specific vehicle that you're trying to optimize for? Usually what I found in doing this is there's typically one of these providers, they generally have a sweet spot where they smoke the competition for whatever that specific use case. So you can kind of see here for enterprise, enterprise has, some of these higher rates across the board. And I actually did end up renting from Alamo. So I don't know if they have some special agreement with Costco, but you'll kind of see, okay, what type of car, car, they kind of give you a range of what you might be renting and things like that. So I think the car I ended up renting, I think it was like it might have been a premium SUV. It might actually be this one, but I guess during that weekend they had some crazy deal where it was, I think it was like $150 for 2 days or something like that. So you can just kind of figure out, hey, what are your needs? What do you need to go through? And then the other thing that I really like about Costco Travel, specifically for rental cars, is now most will give you unlimited mileage, but that's something to look at. So I think that part's pretty awesome. The geographic restriction, it's really just saying, we can drill into this, but hey, staying within the US and Canada, some of these might not be allowed outside of the US, rented vehicles cannot be driven into Mexico under certain circumstances, So, but this additional driver, this part's pretty cool. So a lot of other rental agencies, this is something to note. If you're going by yourself, doesn't matter. But if you're going with a business partner, a spouse, whomever, this is actually a really cool perk because a lot of agencies, if you don't rent through Costco, they might charge you an extra 10 or 15 or 20 bucks a day. So you can do the math on this. This is a cool benefit that's actually included. And then depending on, again, this is credit card rewards, depending on if you have the executive membership through Costco, which is, I think it's $130 per year at the time of this taping, you would get 2% back because this is considered a Costco purchase, Costco in store, online, and then also through Costco Travel. And then depending which credit card you use, if you have the Costco Citi card, you'd get an additional 3%. So you'd save about, 5%. And you may have additional cards that are better. So again, if you go watch our other video about rental car insurance, Costco's card does have it. I have to go look to see if it's primary, secondary level of coverage. If it, obviously if you're renting this for business or not, there might be a strong argument to use a different card, but yeah, you can just kind of play around with this, play around with different dates. You can go look at different locations. But again, here, kind of going back to that sweet spot. So you can kind of see Alamo with this luxury car. I think this is the one I actually ended up doing. I think it was even less money. But you can just see, compared to alternatives, they kind of had this sweet spot. And the same thing, hey, if you had to rent a full-size pickup for whatever reason, if you want to rent a hybrid car, I think some of these will rent EVs too, if that meets your needs. So yeah, just to recap, I think this is a really great resource to at least consider, especially if you already have a Costco membership. I'm sure a lot of you guys already know about this, so this video might not be super helpful, but if you don't, it's something to consider. So hope this helps. We'll be putting out more content like this. Again, if any of you guys have experiences, both positive and negative, feel free to drop them in the comments, help the community out. If there's any, tips, tricks, lessons learned, anything that I might have not covered, let me know. And also if there's more videos like this that you guys want to see or different topics, please let me know. But we're going to keep putting out this high value content to help members become more successful, save more money, and they can leverage that to reinvest back in their business, reinvest back in their life. So hope this helps. Wish you guys an amazing day. All right, take care. Bye.